A part of that plan, of course, is to induce the gradual surrender of American sovereignty, piece by piece and step by step, to various international organizations, of which the United Nations is the outstanding but far from the only example. Now, here are the aims for the United States. 1. Greatly expanded government spending.
The signing of the COVID stimulus package, a massive $1.9 trillion.
And now there's the president in the Oval Office. This is what America has been waiting for, and with the stroke of the pen, that $2.2 trillion relief package is official.
For every conceivable means of getting rid of ever larger sums of American money as wastefully as possible. 2, higher and then much higher taxes.
I want to make it clear, I'm going to raise some taxes.
Vice President Biden's plan, people earning over $400,000 a year would pay combined federal and state income taxes of over 62%.
A new top federal rate of 45.8%. Then you add the net investment income tax and other provisions, and you get a total top rate of 49.6%. So let's go to the state side on top of that. If you live in California, that combined rate would go to 62.6%. New Jersey would be over 60%.
3, an increasingly unbalanced budget, despite the higher taxes.
If you stacked up the full debt of the United States in $100 bills, you could make not one, not two, but 13 piles of cash as tall as the Washington Monument.
Okay, the national debt, all of the money the U.S. government owes, is currently at $31.4 trillion.
4, wild inflation of our currency.
Inflation nation. Americans are paying significantly more for basics such as food, fuel, and rent.
I basically just got struggle food and some popsicles.
5, government controls of prices, wages, and materials, supposedly to combat inflation.
What Speaker Pelosi is proposing in the House is really government price controls.
12 states in Washington, D.C., they're adjusting their minimum wage.
The Inflation Reduction Act, a slimmed-down version of the Build Back Better plan, is a $740 billion package that would make the largest investment in clean energy in U.S. history.
6, greatly increased socialistic controls over every operation of our economy and every activity of our daily lives.
According to the order, all children under the age of 11 are exempt, but 12 and up will have to wear one.
Law enforcement can't enforce this mandate. It is actually an honor system. As soon as you leave your car, they expect you to have the mask on and worn properly.
It's a multi-phase plan that would require 35% of new cars to be powered by electricity or hydrogen by the year 2026, 51% by 2028, and 100% by 2035.
Montgomery County may be following in California and D.C.'s footsteps, looking to ban gas-powered leaf blowers.
That's why I think we need to be talking about regulating gas stoves, whether that's drastically improving emissions or banning gas stoves entirely.
San Diego City Council will vote on a strict new gun law that would force owners to keep their guns locked up when they're not being held.
This is to be accompanied naturally and automatically by a correspondingly huge increase in the size of our bureaucracy and in both the cost and reach of our domestic government.
The IRS plans to use about half of its new $80 billion in funding to hire more agents and crack down on tax cheats.
7, far more centralization of power in Washington and the practical elimination of our state lines. There is a many-faceted drive at work to have our state lines eventually mean no more within the nation than our county lines do now within the states.
Tonight, the United States of America versus the state of Texas.
The Department of Justice suing over Texas' new abortion law known as the Heartbeat Law.
30.
The Ducey administration is suing to challenge the Biden administration's right to control a narrow strip of land running along Arizona's border with Mexico.
8, the steady advance of federal aid to and control over our educational system, leading to complete federalization of our public education.
The
U.S. Department of Education released this fact sheet on its proposed changes to Title IX regulations on student eligibility for athletic teams. It reads, quote, under the proposed regulation, schools would not be permitted to adopt or apply a one-size-fits-all policy that categorically bans transgender students from participating on teams consistent with their gender identity. 9, a constant hammering into the American consciousness of the horror of modern warfare, the beauties and the absolute necessity of peace. Peace always on communist terms, of course. And 10, the consequent willingness of the American people to allow the steps of appeasement by our government which amount to a piecemeal surrender of the rest of the free world